which is good for the breakdown. So I'm just making it kind of as big as possible. And I've actually doubled that track. Because I want it to sound as big as possible. And this, I don't think I showed you this in the Ableton project, but it would have been done using Contact and using the strings on Contact. It's actually using the same MIDI notes. And on this I've added a spreader to make it some of the frequencies on the left, some of them on the right, and then I've also added the imager as well to make it as wide as possible. So in the breakdown it gives it a wider sound, and then I've got this little electro sound here. Which again I don't think I went through on the last video, but I've taken out some of the low EQs there. I've added a spreader on the high frequencies, just to send some frequencies to the left and the right, which gives it more of a stereo image. And then there's some compression in there. Then the glitch sound, which you got here, it's got the ensemble plugin. So that's what it sounds like without it. I mean, that's what with it. What I quite like about the ensemble plugin is sometimes if something sounds in a little bit harsh in the frequencies, it kind of just helps it sort of sit in the mix better and kind of simmer on the top, if that makes sense. And then there's the main riff. Some distortion's been added to this. I'll take all the plugins off. So some distortion's been added, just very slightly there. There's some spread's been added to give it more of a stereo image, and also the S1 imager. So it's actually quite a wide sound. Then some chorus as well, which gives it more of an effect than anything. Then it's been EQ'd and compressed. So it doesn't sound near, it sounds quite far away. Because if you think you've got your left and your right, and you've also got your near and your far, as far as a 3D image is concerned, and then to send things to the left and the right, obviously you can pan them, but to have things near or far, to have it near, obviously you need less effects because it's right up close. If it's far away, it's got more reverb and more delays and stuff on it. So because it's got quite a lot of effects, it does sound far away. But then I've also got this, which is the main riff without the plugins on. So it makes it sound a little bit more up front as well. This is the counter melody. Nothing's really been done apart from some EQ. Again, some EQ on the sound there. Some more spreading using this sound. And some EQing. Now the sub bass has been side chained to the kick, so every time the kick comes in, that you hear some side chaining, so the kick and the sub bass can work well together. I think with the low frequencies, you kind of have to make a decision whether you want your kick or your sub bass to be the dominant factor in the bottom end, and I tend to lean towards having the kick as the the dominant factor in the track, and then have the sub bass kind of sitting in the background a bit more. Some tracks do the opposite. You know, they kind of have the sub bass as the main part of the low frequencies, and then have the kick maybe have the frequencies pushed up around this area more, so you get more of that mid sound. But I tend to have the kick coming through more, and then having a bit of sub bass underneath. And then the last thing is the white noise, which I've added some gain to it because it was obviously a bit quiet, and I've put the platinum verb on it. Just to give it more of an airy kind of sound, and then it's also been EQ'd, so the bottom frequencies have been taken out. I've also done a certain amount of automation. You can see here there's been some automation on the panning for the fill, so the fill kind of goes from left to right. And the congas have been filtered here, or the volume has been automated, so they come in, as you can hear there. And reverse snare. There's been some panning there, so it kind of comes from the left and then hits you in the middle. So that's all the automation really. And then I didn't master it on this project. I'm not too sure why I didn't, but I exported the file and then I mastered it in a separate project.